Well, hello, and I hope you're having an awesome day. My name is Susan Sly, and it's my weekly Monday Live. If you tune in live on Mondays, I have been sharing various content that really comes down to mindset and mechanics in the world of digital marketing. And you may say, well, Susan, why are you talking mindset? And here's the thing. I know that only about 10% of you are actually going to do not just what I say, but anything that anyone who's talking digital strategy is saying. And so that's why the mindset comes in. And, for years, I was actually a mindset coach and a certified coach, and I am an NLP certified coach and trauma relief specialist and all sorts of things. But the reality that I found is that if I was just teaching mindset and people didn't have the mechanics to actually do anything, they became very confused. And conversely, if I was just teaching mechanics and I didn't add any mindset, people also became confused and did nothing. And so we're living in such an amazing, amazing time where us as, people participating in the U economy can really get our stories out. We can get our businesses out there. And, even yesterday I was at my church and my pastor has like a massive digital following. And we're seeing people who have just these beautiful messages who otherwise might just be limited to their congregation or their club or their synagogue or their organization, suddenly being able to get these awesome messages out into the world. So today I want to share with you just some digital trends as we come into September when, so many people are conditioned as this time going back to school, especially if you're in North America or the EU. The first 18 years of our lives, we generally speaking, the day after Labor Day had something. We had preschool, we had kindergarten, we had, all of our elementary school and high school, and then going on to college. And the reality is that level of conditioning bakes some programs in that we are so conditioned to start new things, whether we're starting a new diet or we are starting an exercise program, or we're finally doing the Pilates class, the Zumba class, the Payo class, whatever it is. We're going to go back to school. We're going to write that book. We're going to create our online program. We're going to do something. And, for some of you who still have kids at home, my two youngest go back tomorrow. Thank you, God. I love my children. I do. I have 5 of them. But it's just a lot, juggling everything, that when you're really thinking about it, it's not the day after Labor Day that you go, well, what am I going to do with my business right now? The people I know who are crushing it, they're starting these strategies now. And so I want to give you 7 digital trends that I've been reading about that hopefully can assist you and things you can do to act on them now. And hopefully that sounds good. And if you're new to showing up here on Monday, my website is www.susansly.com. I also own a digital marketing agency, and I am out to disrupt digital marketing agencies. So I am an Infusionsoft certified partner, and we do something so different at the Agency 8. We actually only charge you for your Infusionsoft, and on top of that, we give you, this is crazy, 6 weeks of free training. We give you a free coaching session, access to our community, and all you do is pay for that Infusionsoft subscription. Infusionsoft is a state-of-the-art client management system, and it does everything from generate leads to follow up to scheduling to everything. And so if you're interested in that, you can check out our website, www.theagency8.com. There's a getting started video. Watch that application. And then if you check all the right boxes, you can come work with us. And twice a month, I actually go in as someone who has created very successful businesses and mentor people. It's awesome. So check it out. Let me get started. So I had to write these down because it was Monday and it was a little bananas today. The first big trend is video. You guys are like, Susan, that's so common sense. Oh my gosh, why did you have to write that down? Well, there's a couple things. So tomorrow is my wedding anniversary to my husband, Chris. And so last night I made this epic Italian meal. I made a vegan risotto. It was delicious. It was leek and mushroom. Then I made one that had cheese in it because some of us in the house are vegans. I made like this amazing chicken parmesan. And anyway, then I made this like organic peach and blueberry crisp. And so we had this bit of a carb fest, and that doesn't work well for my body. So I honestly feel like I am hungover this morning, but I'm not. But that's how I feel. So I did have to write this stuff down. But let's talk about video. So video, over 80% of views are video views. And so people who are really crushing it with video understand the importance of a couple things. One, you've got to look good in your videos. Number two, it has to be well lit. Number three, it has to be super clear. The content has to be amazing. And last year, the top paid YouTuber, his name is Dan Middleton. He made $16.5 million US. I mean, that's sick. So, you know, this is really the rise of video. However, when I tell you something coming up with it is the next stat, you may be thinking, oh my gosh, Susan, you know, firstly, I don't like video. I don't like doing Facebook Lives. The thing I'm going to have to tell you is you have to do them if you want to put your business out there. And if you're a small business owner and you do not on your website have some kind of personal story about why you're in business, you are not going to set yourself up because people want to do business with real people. And that is an emerging trend. They just don't want to buy your organic apple juice or your protein powder or whatever. They want to know the story. They want to know the journey you've had, the pain. They want to know, why did you start this business? And so it doesn't matter if you're a realtor or you're a chiropractor or you own $1 billion company or whatever it is you do, people want you. And that's the thing you have to understand. That's why these people who are YouTubers and amazing influencers, even we'll look at the Kardashians, and I think they've created amazing business models. And some of you might be like, Susan, how can you use them as an example? I think, you know, kudos to those girls. They hustle like crazy. Kylie Jenner built the Kylie Lip Kit company, almost $1 billion in sales, was just on the cover of Forbes. I've been talking about this for a few weeks because she understands that video is so important. So if she does a video of herself putting her makeup on, her fans are loving that. Video. It gets more views, more traction, and it's essential. So you might be saying, I don't want to do it. You've got to do it. I'm sorry. You can go on Amazon and order some great lighting. Actually, the lighting that I'm being lit with right now, they're just, you know, it's a lighting kit from Amazon. I think it was like $90. It's 2 professional photo grade lights on either side. I'm in an office with fluorescent lighting, so it wouldn't look that good, but I have the lights turned off. I've got the light shining on me, and that's how I'm doing these Facebook Lives on Monday. So check that out. Number two, you might be going, well, you know, I love to do video. I just don't know if I have something to say all the time. The people who are going to follow you, they're going to be okay if you have, like I do, I eat dairy. I admit it. Which side is it? Oh no, here, like here. So I broke out. I ate dairy and I was like on a dairy bender, and I don't do dairy. And so I have pimples. Now, if you're like, Susan, I'm not going to watch you because you have pimples, even if I'm going to give you content that can help you really scale your business, then, you know, that's chacun son goût. That's okay. It means to each his own. However, it's just, you know, it's that people want you to be real. And the most common thing I get when I'm traveling, people are like, I love your videos. I love your audios because you're just real. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just attempting to get a message out to help you grow your business and really be relevant in a digital space. Okay. So the second tip, the number one is video. Number two is audio. So last year, 68 million people in the United States alone were listening to podcasts, 68 million, and a massive percentage of those are millennials. However, people in Gen X, which is the generation I'm in, are listening to more and more podcasts. Boomers are listening to podcasts. People love to drive and listen. They love to be on the subway and listen. You could be making dinner and listening. So audio is interesting how it's trending, because if you really think about this, back in the early 2000s, there were a lot of bloggers, and the big bloggers, they started to make a ton of money. You know, 2000, I can't remember what year, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, you have people like Perez Hilton doing entertainment blogs, making a lot of money. And there are still blogs today that do crush it. You know, the recipe blogs, the fashion blogs, the makeup blogs, they also do put a lot of video in there as well. But audio is huge. And as we're using things like Alexa and the Amazon Echo, you're going to see more and more video or audio. And this is something I put out a weekly podcast, and it's on the Susan Slide Project. You can also check it out on iTunes. And, you know, one of my things that I love is audio. I used to do radio back in, oh, I'm so dating myself now. oh gosh, like the early 90s. And so I love it because I can be in my Lululemon, I can have a top knot, no makeup on, and no one cares. That's why I love audio. And especially, I want to speak to the women. You know, guys, I watch like, I love Gary Vee. I've done a speaking event with Gary years ago. It was a multi-speaker event, and he has shifted. He's talking a lot more mindset, but Gary Vee can walk out there in like sneakers, jeans, a white t-shirt, and not even shave, and everyone's like, oh, Gary's the man. As women, there's a little more pressure on us. Whether, you know, I'm just going to be bold and say it, I don't care. The reality is there's a different expectation for us in terms of how we show up. And the wonderful thing about podcasts is it doesn't matter. You can just have no makeup on and a big pimple. It doesn't matter. So audio, if you want to take your business to a whole new vertical, start to think about putting out a podcast. It's easy to do. Number 3, a big trend that you're going to start to see emerge are paid groups on things like Facebook, where it's pay to play, you know, where it's going to be more like a membership site within social media. And so there are amazing membership sites out there. I am married happily, so I don't online date, but online dating sites are examples of membership sites that, you know, it's paid to play and different things like that. And so that is where a trend is going. So some of you are using Facebook groups to kind of, you know, recruit, prospect for your business and go in there, and you've heard, you know, just serve people and add content, and that's amazing, but don't think that that's going to last forever, because you're going to start to see, and I have friends who are in this space and some of my clients at the agency that are beginning to create paid groups. So you can be in a group as long as you're paying a subscription fee. So don't think that, you know, if you're in there and you're using that as a methodology to grow your business, that's fantastic. Don't expect it to last. The next thing is competing with large retailers. So some of you have products and services. So whether it's an Etsy store, direct sales business, whatever it is, and you have perhaps noticed a bit of a downturn in your e-tail because people go to large businesses like Amazon and they buy there instead because it's easier. So what you have to do to set yourself apart is tell your clients and consumers what they're going to get when they purchase with you as opposed to purchasing on Amazon. So are you going to give them a bonus coaching program? Are you going to give them a free white paper? Are you going to give them access to a special group? Or what is it that you're going to do to set yourself apart? And I actually have the story of this friend. So she is a health practitioner. She also has a direct sales business. And so she's super excited. You know, she goes to one of her clients, hey, do you want to go do a detox with me? And the client's like, yeah, that sounds great. And my friend goes, yeah, let me know when you're ready to order. And the client comes back the next week and my friend goes, when are you ready to order? And the gal goes, oh, I already got it. I got it on Amazon. So that's the thing. You know, it's not going away. Jeff Bezos built a massive company. It is not going away. Don't bury your head in the sand. I do not care if you have a digital e-learning course, or if you have a widget, or if you have a nutrition program or a keto program or a greens product. You've got to compete. You've got to show more value. You've got to make your ordering process simple. And if you can't do those things, you are not going to compete. And that is a trend that is, you know, is very obvious, but some people are just waking up to it now. Let's talk about the rise of the influencer. Anyone can become an influencer. Anyone. Now, some of you may think, well, influencers are only people like personal development people. No, an influencer is anyone who has something great to offer in a space. And so you can be an influencer as, you know, someone who maybe makes amazing cookies or cakes, as an example. There are guys on YouTube, my kids were talking about this at dinner last night, and they just drop stuff off of buildings and they get millions of views and it's entertaining for people and they're making a ton of money on YouTube. So you can be an influencer in your own right. You can be an influencer in your town, in your city, in your community. And really what an influencer is, it's someone who has a message that can serve other people, that can create a movement. And then if you want, not everyone has to monetize. You know, I know there are a lot of people out there. There was a guy visiting my church yesterday from Rwanda, and he's working with Pastor Rick Warren, and he's spreading the message about how Rwanda is growing after the genocide and how people are working together and so on. And his goal obviously is to monetize that message, but not necessarily in a way that we might think about in digital marketing. But by the same token, he can monetize that to create more revenue, to build schools and to build trauma centers and do all the things he needs to do. Does that make sense, everyone? So when you're as an influencer, generally speaking, there is a form of monetization, and that monetization means that you are offering more in value than that person is paying for your service. Does that make sense? Just nod your head if it does, right? So that monetization, maybe politicians are now influencers, right? And the politicians who can crush it the most digitally tend to be the ones that win. And so they aren't necessarily monetizing, but there's a reward at the end, which is getting elected, as an example. So we all have a form of monetization as influencers, and it might be financial, it might be a level that you reach, or whatever the case is. But rise of the influencer, you're going to see grandmas becoming influencers. You're going to see little kids who we're already seeing little kids who are influencers. It's happening. All right, the sixth trend is content, 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 and more content. So because this ocean of digital is so murky, these waters, how do you set yourself apart so people are actually going to see what it is you're doing? So even for myself, I've got to up my content schedule. So I do a Facebook Live, I do a podcast, I send 2 custom e-zines, plus I have all my social media. So I do my own posting on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I do all of it. And on top of it, I'm a LinkedIn mentor. That's just like a basic content schedule. That's not anything fancy, that's basic. So for me to take it to the next level and to really increase what I am doing on digital, then I have to increase my content schedule. I have to create better lead magnets for people to want to come from all of the free content I'm putting out there into my funnels, right? Because at the end of the day, the person with the largest list tends to do the best. Does that make sense? Yes, just nod your head. So figure out what your content schedule is going to be. And maybe it's just a Monday morning Facebook Live for moms. Maybe it is I have one of my clients, she was a YouTuber and she was a single mom. She used to do YouTube reviews on diapers, on toys and things like that. And she just was very consistent with it. So what is your consistent schedule going to be? And how can you use that to create amazing content? So what I want you to do at some point this week is sit down, get out a day planner and create that schedule. So when am I doing a Facebook Live? When am I doing an Instagram story? When am I going to do a blog? When? Because your business is related to your content. Last week, I did a media interview for the German version of the BBC. It wasn't 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, I wrote a very extensive article on the U economy, and I tagged it, and I had outbound links, I had inbound links, and it was very, very long. And that's how this woman found me to do this interview. Does that make sense? So even for I'm just nodding, right? Yeah, hopefully you're nodding. So even for the content that you're creating, don't just put out blather, put out really, really good content. Like today, I'm giving you 7 strategies that you can do or not do. I was doing a live event for Eric Worre, and I was standing on a stage in front of 20,000 people. I said, 90% of you aren't going to be here next year. And it's true, because a lot of you are so addicted to learning, but you need to become addicted to actually doing stuff. Okay, it isn't easy. Even this morning, I did not want to put on makeup. I did not want to dress up. I would rather have I did hot yoga, then I came running in my house, then I got my kids ready for a parent teacher thing, then I'm coming in my office. But I know that there's also an expectation. Okay, so that's where we have to understand that anything you're doing digitally has to be treated like a job. If anyone tells you, oh, you can just stick up something and start to make all this money, run away, run away. It's about a hustle. It's about work. And the 7th thing is I want to finish with is another trend I'm seeing is just like me communities. So we're at this weird time where we've decided that we're so easily offended by other people. And I was just in Canada last weekend. I'm Canadian, I live in the US, and I could not believe, even my aunt was like, oh, how can you live in the US? I'm like, what are you talking about? We're just people. You know, one person does not make a whole country. You know, in the history of Germany, there were awful atrocities that were done. We're not judging a whole country by what one person did. You know, it's just ridiculous to think about that. But we've become really strange like that. And one of the things in the mindset piece, I always say, if you're going to be an influencer, you have to start to think more about we as opposed to me. You have to think about, you know, how can I be more inclusive? How can I really bring people into my community by being accepting as opposed to us and them? However, that being said, there is a trend growing, like Just Like Me community. So the influencers on Facebook, the woman who makes, or I don't know how much she made last year, but the year before, I believe she made 7 figures just playing with slime on Facebook. It was really this Just Like Me community. It was a community for people who love to make slime. My daughter was watching her videos and play with slime. Another friend, her niece makes, I think, $15,000 a month on YouTube playing with American Girls. And it's Just Like Me communities. We're all playing with American Girls together. That's what we're doing. You're coming here on Mondays for the mindset and the tactics for digital, and this is a Just Like Me community. If you don't understand the word digital, you might not come ever and watch this again because it's not going to make sense. And at some point I pray to God that it will, right? So we want to understand that as this trend in digital, because so many people are easily offended and we're all feeling different, and this is not, you know, the best thing to be, because unfortunately that's how, you know, bad things happen when we all feel so different and alone. But we're seeing this rise of Just Like Me communities. And so, you know, I hope I said that in a way that, you know, I could be as correct, you know, politically as I can, because it really breaks my heart to think that we're going to judge someone by, you know, a political affiliation or the color of their skin. I mean, I would have thought, you know, as someone who's mixed race, by 2018, we'd be beyond that, or we're going to judge someone by their gender or their country of origin or all that nonsense. But the Just Like Me community trend is a big trend right now. And so you could capitalize on that in whatever your business is. And let me give you some examples that aren't political, but that was like my little mindset thing. And I hope you guys, you know, some of you might write in and go, Susan, I can't believe you went there, but I had to go there because it's the truth, right? So here are some ways you can capitalize on the Just Like Me trend. You know, mommies, as an example, you know, it's a huge one. You know, mommies who have online businesses, mommies who love to detox, mommies who love to blog, mommy bloggers. Those are like Just Like Me communities. As an example, stay-at-home dads would be another Just Like Me community. Parents of kids who have autism is another Just Like Me community. You know, people who love ketone diets is a Just Like Me community. People who say, forget it, I'm still eating carbs is a Just Like Me community. You know, so there are many different ways that you can go about creating the Just Like Me community. I'm doing an event actually September 8th in New Jersey, and with 2 other women who are millionaires, and that is a Just Like Me event. It's women who aren't afraid of ambition. We want to serve, we're ambitious, we love our lives, and we're not going to settle. And, you know, we're raising our standards. That's a Just Like Me community. And there's a member of the press coming to that. It's going to be awesome. If you want to find out more about that, you just go to empoweredwomenunite.com. Empoweredwomenunite.com. We are closing off registration for that next Monday, just an FYI. You know, in my Just Like Me community for my agency, it's people who want to crush it digitally. They're not afraid of hard work. They understand that if they were working with a large agency, they'd be paying $10,000, $20,000 a month. We're teaching them how to do it so they can save a ton of money and build their own landing pages, mobile handshakes, build their own funnels and campaigns, all for just paying for the price of their CRM system. So that's a Just Like Me community, people who want to crush it. There are so many communities that you can create, seriously. So with that, I know that's a lot of content. It's like a fire hose. I do read all of your comments. Did you enjoy today? If you enjoyed this, I'd love to see it. If this has been great for you, I'd love for you to share it. If you want to find out more about working with me, go to www.theagency8.com. And shouts out to those of you who come every single week and check out what I'm sharing. Because honestly, guys, the world of business is changing and evolving, and it's such a fun time to be in business. And we can look at change as a bit scary, or we can look at it as exhilarating. So with that, God bless. Go out and rock your day. Let's go crush this. And I will be back here next Monday.